Before we go truly into the crux of what our partnership is all about, I'll take you back on how we actually met and how this all came to be. So we as a brand had been starting to look into what we could do more in terms of helping girls with confidence. And we had been already started partnering with Carissa and with Rachel on our confidence curriculum. And we were looking for a partner that could help us spread that curriculum. And obviously with thinking of ideas worth spreading, we thought of TED. Now, little did we know that TED had also an education department that was dedicated to spreading lessons. So Stefani will tell us a little bit more about TED Ed.
So some of you may have heard of TED Talks. And about 4 years ago, we really thought about, well, ideas worth spreading. How do we work with teachers and with students on this initiative? How do we really start to think about amplifying their voices? And so about 4 years ago, we started the TED Ed initiative, the education initiative. And our focus has really been to work and support teachers and students all around the globe. And so we do this in a couple of different ways. We create actually animated lessons. So they're kind of a spin-off of TED Talks. What we heard was that TED Talks might be a bit long sometimes for classrooms, and so perhaps you can shorten it and think about ways to keep students engaged. And so that's what we do. We target 13 to 24-year-old students. We work with and collaborate with teachers and animators all over the world to create these scalable lessons because they're available online for free. And so far we've seen some great reach in terms of the millions and hundreds of millions of learners that we've reached with that content. And then about a year ago, we also started working more and more closely with students in the classroom as well.
So when we met, we thought, okay, TED is going to be our partner in distribution of reaching as many girls as possible with the curriculum. So we were extremely excited when we learned that we could actually partner on so much more. And what we got into when we got into our talks, we learned that Stefani had been touched by the Like a Girl campaign personally, and also in the schools where you went to. So I think it's great if you go into that a little bit.
So just a little bit of background. About a year ago, I mentioned that we started working more directly with students. And the question is, we see a lot of adults on the stage for TED Talks. And the question is, how can we empower students to also embrace the idea of what their big idea is? What is the idea that students, especially girls, want to share with the world? And so we started a program called TED Ed Clubs. And this is a program that focuses on presentation skills for students. So there's a bit of a curriculum. It's a loose curriculum that helps guide students as they think about how do I present my big idea? What is it that you're passionate about? And then how do you get on stage, practice, 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 and then actually present your idea? And they film it and share it back to us at TED. And the hope is actually that we get to highlight a few of them at our annual youth conference, TED Youth. And so it'll be nice to kind of see them on stage as well. There's actually a clip that I'd love to share with you just to kind of give you some context around this program called TED Ed Clubs. And so if you don't mind, I'll just share this film of different kids around the globe. Over 10,000 students have participated in the past year in 80 different countries. So if we could see the film.
These are sounds. Sounds are a way of communication. Sounds are a way of understanding.
Have you ever thought that your voice sounds much better in the bathroom? What is the extent of teachers' rights?
What if you become something like an animal? Is that possible?
What separates those who primarily have an idea and those who want to bring it to life is simple.
Society assumes that that is the story of every black man walking the earth. It is assumed that that is my story before I even begin to tell it.
Because everything I've just told you so far is a lie and I just made it all up. My talk is actually about the art of lying and convincing people that what you're saying is true.
We've developed technologies to give ourselves more and more pleasure. We're turning into a world like the brave new world of Aldous Huxley.
This is TED Ed. This is what we do.
So, as you've probably seen, these girls on the film, they definitely don't need extra confidence. So when we started talking this, I was very much intrigued and said, like, they show up with so much confidence. Is confidence even a big theme? Is it anything that is being discussed in the schools? So Stefani enlightened me, and it's in line with our research findings. So Stefani.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. My team actually has watched a ton of footage, as you can imagine, from all of these students. But as we were watching some of this footage, we're realizing that the theme of confidence is definitely something that students are struggling with. And so I hope I don't sound naive, but you know, I was really taken aback, honestly, by the number of girls who talked about issues with confidence, whether it be bullying or test taking, and just their struggle with confidence. But then the thing that also surprised me, and this is where I'm very encouraged, is that I've also heard from a lot of our students that by presenting their ideas, by being asked what their ideas are, and then ultimately going through the process of presenting it, that they actually do feel more confident. And I don't know if I mentioned this story to you before, actually, but I went to but I went to Los Angeles to visit one of the schools that has a club, and this was just last month. And there was this one girl who, she was kind of sitting in the back. They were doing their final presentations, and I just happened to be there. And this girl comes up to me, and she's very shy and very sweet. And she's a junior in high school, and her name was Gabby. And she kind of asked me a few questions about living in New York and all of I think some of the questions that she had. But I asked her about her experience doing this whole presentation component. And I asked her, you know, how did it start? How did you feel about it? And she said, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. She said, when we started this whole TED Ed Club program, I really didn't think I was going to do it because it's really scary to speak in front of people. I just didn't feel like I could do it. And so I asked her, okay, so now that you've done it, how do you feel? And what struck me was that she said she felt more confident in her ideas. And that as she thinks about being a high school counselor, because she has seen her high school counselor quite often, she has basically said that because she feels more comfortable speaking, she feels like when she goes to be a school counselor, this skill will help her. And that was really exciting. I mean, I would love to see more and more of that.
Yeah. And I think it just goes to show with everything that Rachel and Carissa have said, it's like, it's practice, practice, practice. It's trying something new, daring to do something new, and then just sticking to it and developing that skill. Because what we also know from the research that we've done is that skills develop the competence you need to have the confidence, because all of that is related. So we have obviously talked about a lot more, not this story particularly, but a lot more. And we have also shared all of the learnings that we've gotten on the growth mindset, and we shared it back with TED. And we started thinking, okay, what can we then do? What can we do together? How can we include TED as part of our curriculum? How can we build this out so that we are able to spark this idea of confidence with girls and truly help them understand that they're not necessarily born confident, but that they can become confident. So this is where we started thinking of co-creating lessons, and you will tell more about that.
Yeah, so when Mishel mentioned, okay, let's create some lessons, I thought to myself, well, you can't really tell a student, you can't tell kids, you should be confident, right? And so what we're exploring right now is how can we take the idea of ideas and the concept of curiosity, how can we spark students, especially girls, to think about confidence? What is the science of confidence, for example? How does it work? Is there something behavioral? Is it something physiological? And so I think that's the piece that we're really exploring. So we're excited to do a few videos that will really get to this concept and ideally inspire generations of students as they think about confidence, especially the girls.
And then we'll obviously be co-creating and at the same time working with that to distribute all of these lessons, and you'll find them on the TED Ed channels and obviously also the Always channel. So for us, both Ted and Always. It's very exciting times. I think this is a unique opportunity to come together and to truly work on our mission to stop the drop in confidence girls experience at puberty and raise the next generation of unstoppable girls. Thank you.
Thank you.